A lot of you know I'm a farmer. My life has been about animals and animal health, the right nutrients, the right feed, the right supplements. We grow pastures to feed our animals better, in a better means, and to make them increase our stock carrying capacity and all those types of things. We also give our animals B12, and we give them ADE, and we give them selenium, and you know there's a real parallel in human health and animal health, and just how important that seems to be. Nora's book sort of hit a nail on the head, I guess, and I thought, I'm not doing a particularly good job of looking after myself, and I thought, you know, I'm just another animal, but we tend to eat what the medical system tell us to eat, and it's not all as good as it should be. Anyway, Katrina, I was reading this book and I said to Katrina after I got into it about 40 pages, I think this book's going to be life-changing for me. And we started messing around looking at it. Then we drove back from Mollymook back to Walker, which is probably 8 or 9 hours, and we'd take it in turns driving and reading the book to each other. And we decided, let's give it a go. And it was simple as that, let's give it a go. So there was room for massive change for me, particularly me. Katrina was probably a little bit better in her diet, and I think a lot of women probably do eat a little bit better than men. You know, the first thing I didn't realise, and I want to show of hands here, how many people here realise that carbohydrates turn to sugar? Yeah, that's about 30%, 40% at the most, so that's pretty significant. So I didn't, so I'd been shoveling sugar into myself for ages thinking it was really good. So I'm going to run through what my old diet was and what my current diet is, because I think this is getting down to the nuts and bolts of what we do. Breakfast, typical, was cereal, toast, maybe juice, tea. So it was carbohydrate, which is sugar, juice, mostly sugar. And today, and I really like this bit, I now have bacon, egg, tomato, mushrooms, or I'll swap the bacon for a chop or a sausage. So yeah, I find that I wake up in the morning and I whip the breakfast up, and Katrina runs around and does a few jobs, and it's all done, and we eat and away we go. So then it came round to smoko, which most people in the bush understand that's a cup of tea mid-morning, you Americans. And before I smoker, I would be so hungry. And you know, you'd head in and you'd grab 2 or 3 sayos and a bit of tomato on it, and you might have a biggie and a piece of cake and another biggie, and on it goes. How typical does it sound? And a coffee, which wasn't necessarily strong, or a cup of tea. So that was another big hit, straight carbohydrate basically. Now, after I've had that breakfast, I'm not really hungry at smoko. I pull up for a little rest. That's when I normally have my apple or orange, basically one bit of fruit for the day. You know, if there's not a reason to pull up, I don't need to pull up. I've got enough energy to carry on. Lunch in the past was sandwiches, 3 or 4 slices of bread. When I was younger, it was probably half a dozen, and probably meat in the middle. And whatever you put in sandwiches. Today I have, so once again that was a great heap of carbohydrate. Today I have meat, maybe it's a chicken wing and a leg, or it can be a couple of chops or cold meat or lamb or something like that, just with a salad. And I mix it up in an ice cream container and throw the knife and fork in and put it in the esky, and that's my lunch. And it seems to be really filling and not a problem. In the evening, in the past, I used to come home and I would have probably a beer. If it's a cold winter, it'd be a rum and cake. Now, how healthy is that? Just a great sugar hit every time. Now, when I come home, probably mostly I don't have a drink, just because I realise what it is. And if I'm a little bit peckish before dinner, I might have a few cashews and peanuts or something and a bit of cheese. And if I want to have cheese on a biggie, I put a slice of cucumber under it, and tastes just as good. So that's how I get away from having the carbohydrates and biggies. Dinner in the past was always meat and veggies, but it was always a big wad of spud. And so now it's meat and veggies, but get rid of the underground vegetables, basically, the spuds and the parsnips and things like that. So don't go overboard about it. Probably Nora would say that's not the best thing to do, but if I go out to dinner anywhere, anyone's place, it's just what's on the menu is what's on the menu. And after dinner, and this is probably pretty typical, you'll be sitting watching TV or doing something and, oh, wouldn't a bit of chocolate be nice? Get wafted into a bit of chocolate, and now I can say no. And on top of that, during the day I have plenty of water, and that's about it. I try to limit the protein to not too much. There's and Nora will probably go into this later, but 50 to 60 grams of protein is about what I aim for, which if you multiply that by 4 with most meats, that's about 200 grams, 250 grams of meat equivalent. So one big Scotch fillet that we normally all eat is probably enough protein, but it's probably not enough fat. So, you know, we're pretty lucky here in Australia, I guess. I cut out all my processed food that I can, so basically nothing. If it comes in plastic or comes in a packet, cardboard packet, well, it's not there, because basically in America, and I'm going to go off Nora's book, 90% of the food is manufactured. And there's very little fresh. And if you noticed in the supermarkets, you go around the outside, you get all the fresh vegetables, meat, all the centre columns are just all manufactured, the whole lot.